Okay, so hi friends, my name is Arjun. I'm a UX designer as well as a motorcyclist, and I've been motorcycling for about 10 years and covered 1 lakh kilometers across 3 motorcycles. So today we'll be talking about how do you choose your first motorcycle, because it's a confusing world out there and there is a lot of options for us to choose from. And
Hi guys, I'm Pratheek. I'm not a motorcycle enthusiast, but a design enthusiast. So my point of view for today would be how can design or the elements of design of a motorcycle influence you or any other customer in India who is purchasing their first bike make the right decision.
let's get on to it. So if you're into the market to buy a new bike, what you should be looking for is that what is the motorcycle that you want to buy. So there are a lot of variety of motorcycles. There are genres, so to speak. So there is commuters. These are bikes that are mostly used by the everyday commuting motorcycle, like a Splendor. Lord Splendor is a good example. There is TVS Raider, which is kind of new. So these are some very entry level motorcycles. Then there is naked bikes or sports bikes. So some might have fairing, some might have like without the fairing but really sporty. So these are sports bikes. And then there is the latest craving, or the ones that are most popular, which is the ADV segment.
Yes,
something like this, which has a.
That is why we thought we would get something of this category also for video today.
Correct.
And try to explain all of this.
Yeah.
And there has also been a lot of intermittent segments or
Yeah.
crossovers in
Correct.
the same
Correct.
bikes also have started.
Exactly. So there are categories like the cruiser bikes. So some brands like the TVS, they have mixed a little bit of cruiser element and a little bit of touring element and brought in something like the TVS Ronin.
Exactly.
So there is a lot of choices to make, and you need to go through what are the features, what is the kind of riding you're going to do. This is something that you can start looking into. You should imagine yourself, what do you intend to do? Will you be commuting from your home to office? Then that's something that you need to consider. If you're looking to that, plus maybe you are thinking of weekend rides, then there is a different category of bikes that you can altogether look for. And once you have sorted out what you intend to do with the motorcycle, then comes the power.
Exactly, this is where from the design point of view, across the segments, why these bikes, why do they look so? Why are these segments created?
Yeah.
That's where a lot of use categories of people who do adventure, for them the bikes are designed differently.
Correct.
The elements like the rider triangle, the suspension, the tires, everything is designed according to the use case scenario.
Correct.
So for a first time user, it is very important for you to imagine or to actually write down probably what your primary use is.
Yeah.
Are you going to use it primarily in the city traffic, bumper to bumper traffic?
Yeah.
A lot of metros are seeing right now,
Yeah.
especially in India.
Correct.
And even, or are you a weekend enthusiast who would like to travel longer distances,
right,
but more comfortably? Or is it more of an off-road thing, or
yes,
a pure off-road thing?
Yes.
Like a lot of Ladakh adventures people
Correct.
are doing.
Yes.
Or would you just be good enough with a scooter?
Yes.
That's also another big question that comes into it. And from the design point of view, as a designer, you always have to put yourself in the shoes of the person, in this case, probably the first time buyer.
Yeah.
To look into what their daily use case scenarios must be. And that is where, this makes a lot of sense.
Correct.
Let's go to the next point, which is
seat height. So let's say you are not a very tall person, like for example like us, we are 5'3" at height, and sometimes it is slightly intimidating to be approaching a motorcycle and then doing the test ride and all of that. So what you should consider in that case is that when you have narrowed down your category, you can look at the seat height versus the weight of the motorcycle. You can consider less heavy motorcycle with a low seat height. That would be a dream combination to have, but it is very rare to come by. So something like this what we have here is the 200X. It is now the NX 200 from Honda. It's a very good motorcycle. It's considered to be a sports ADV tourer kind of a motorcycle with very less curb weight and almost approachable seat height. So it's a good balance of many things.
In this case itself, even though it is built to look like, or the design is in a sense that it feels sporty or adventurous, as you described it. But at the same time, even if it feels tall, the seat height is something that we could use with, or even if we have to tiptoe a little bit.
Correct.
But in terms of that, it feels, the design considerations given for the seat height is of utmost importance.
Correct.
And this also relates to probably the seat width and how your legs kind of fold or hold onto the bike.
Correct.
Which is another big design criteria.
Yeah.
Because even if we had this discussion yesterday, right? Even if it's a relatively lower bike, and if it has a very wide stance, then you can't even tiptoe, especially for people like us.
Yes. Yeah.
Please add on.
I would say I would add by saying that there are tallish looking ADV bikes with, let's say, 830 of seat height. One example I could give is the new Xpulse 210. What has happened with that motorcycle is that by paper, let's say the seat height is somewhere around 830 but the seats are narrow and it sends your leg quite straight down. Directly it sends your leg down. So the reach is kind of like doable for even a person with a shorter height. Meanwhile, there are other bikes, let's say, for example, the Scram 440 from Royal Enfield. What has happened with that bike is that on paper, the seat height is 800 or 810, if I'm not wrong. But what happens in that bike is that the seat is slightly wider and the bodywork or some panels around this area sends your feet away from the seat, and hence the reach becomes somewhat equivalent of an 830 seat height. So this is the kind of design considerations that the automobile makers could consider. Yeah, we were discussing yesterday what we felt is that some brands like the Royal Enfield Himalayan, they offer two seats. Like the low seat accessory, they give it as an accessory. I mean, the standard seat is around again 825 or 830 but with a lower seat, the seat actually what they do is that they just shave off some of the cushion. So if a person is shorter, it's a safe assumption that that person is slightly lighter as well. So they can do away with a little bit less padding, and hence the seat height with the optional low seat height accessory comes to 805 so the reach is improved. This is the kind of consideration sometimes the makers should do while designing a motorcycle, or accommodate these kind of situations so that more riders are motivated to approach it, or they can pay the extra and get the low seat height.
And I think this is also another new trend that has been going on, and it is also emerging, is that of customization or personalization.
Correct.
So a lot of it is aids to the experience that one particularly wants for themselves. For example, I think this is a set of accessories.
These come with the bike.
And you can probably opt it or opt out. And some of these also helps you, even if you are going in a rocky terrain, and if you happen to fall also, it'll take the weight of the motorcycle, which means the fiber or metal panels do not get
damaged.
And so all these micro considerations are not so micro, I think, but still they play a big role in how it helps the user of the bike use it on an everyday basis.
Correct.
And with that also, I would, for everyone to be familiar with the parts of the bike, because it's almost like different parts connected together. Very good product design. And a lot of products put together to create an amazing experience. That is what I feel a motorcycle is.
Correct.
And
definitely.
That's why I think every component is given that importance and the way it is built. Even like these foot pegs, for example. That's the height at which it is kept. And it differs from a lot of bikes. For example, this is relatively high, but not something like in an R15 where it's
a totally a step above, and the pillion is totally kept different from the motorcycle. That is again reminds me of one thing that we skipped to while you're buying. One more thing is, how much is a pillion important to you? So in this motorcycle, you can see that the seat is somewhat split seat. So if a pillion is really important to you, what you should be looking at is a flat bench type of a seat where the seat is a single seat, like
I think a lot
the
of Royal Enfield bikes
correct,
offer that
correct,
because that's more of a cruiser,
correct.
so the comfort of
Yes.
cruising for a longer distance
Yes,
is
is
more important.
is more important to in that motorcycle and that genre. So there is Honda CB 350 RS, the Highness. All of these bikes have the flat bench seat kind of setup. So in case you are looking at more sporty motorcycles, what generally happens is that the makers have made the motorcycle in such a way that the pillion comfort is not up there in priority terms. So you will find a split seat, and somewhat the pillion seat is a little detached from the rider itself. So that is one more thing you should be considering.
This kind of connects us back to why categories of bikes
Correct, correct,
exist
correct.
and who are they aimed to,
Yeah,
and what these considerations should be. So even if it's a very adventure oriented bike, they
motorcycle.
might even skip the rear
Yeah,
seats because
yeah,
it might be oriented towards just one person going on
correct.
a weekend
Yeah.
journey to a very mountainous place.
Yeah. So the things like the KTM Enduro, which is very new, there the rear seat or the pillion comfort is not up there in the design considerations for that motorcycle. It's not in the briefing. The briefing is for a single person to be able to do many things, really hardcore off-roading. So that is a thing. You might really lean or be attached to a motorcycle of a certain genre, where again I can connect back to customization is when people sometimes go to certain seat modifiers so that they can create a new seat for you itself, or you customize the motorcycle in a certain way to meet your needs. You sometimes can convert a naked motorcycle or a sport motorcycle to be able to do touring. So what you do is you attach yes, correct, you attach the saddle stay, you are able to carry your luggage that way. Even you can put your pillion also after. You can attach a luggage rack over here so that the pillion can rest their backpack on it, or even you can tie another backpack if you're traveling solo. So that is the way people customize their vehicles to meet their needs. And I always say this, there is a saying in the world of cameras. It's said that the best camera is the one you have on you. Always, you might have a dozen DSLRs at home, but if you have your phone right now, that is the only camera you will be able to shoot with. So always the saying is that I personally feel, and I'm sure Prateek will also agree, it's that if you have a motorcycle, that's the best motorcycle out there. You need to go out there, get out there, have fun on it.
And just coming back to this, the initial perceptions, because
Right.
you might be seeing a lot of videos or hearing a lot of news about having a very sporty
Right.
bike motorcycle with you and to get for the first time, because you might be influenced by going very fast, a lot of traffic splitting and all those stuff. But are you able to use that in your everyday life? That is a big question.
Correct.
I have seen a lot of people buy sport bikes, but they are not able to use it fully.
Correct.
In their everyday life.
Right.
But there are also people who spend a lot of money, get really expensive bikes, but they take it out on their weekends for highway rides, and often with a set of friends or a biker group.
Correct.
So have your priorities in the bag. That is one thing.
When it comes to choosing your first motorcycle, anywhere between 100 to 200 cc is a good band to begin with, because when you're starting to learn how to ride a motorcycle, it's sometimes really overwhelming to manage a lot of power. That's where you see all in social media when people are ringing the throttle and then they lose control and they crash. So to avoid those situations, it's very safe to stay in a 100 to 200 cc range. This is a give or take. As a first motorcycle, 150 to 200 is a very good area where you have that learning curve, where you're starting to feel the surge of power, you are enjoying it. Then there is a bit of learning for you to do, how to master that kind of a power, how to ride use that motorcycle to the its capabilities. So it's a good place to start. Rather than getting influenced, life is not a race to own the fastest bike out there. I mean, if you have the money, you can do that and start riding it as your first bike. I'm sure there are lucky people out there who can buy like 1000cc liter class bike as their first motorcycle. But it's always a good experience to keep stepping up, you know.
Yes.
As your first motorcycle, you experience something, you reach the ceiling, and then you feel the need to upgrade. That's a really good journey to have in your motorcycling career.
Very relative in terms of if you are to become a bike designer and to look at it is again learn from the basics. So
Yeah.
my take on this would be always to look at the parts of the motorcycle, understand what is what
Yeah.
exactly. Do you have a single cylinder or a twin cylinder?
Twin cylinder.
Or is it a boxer kind of engine that you
Right.
have, or is it an inline 3, inline 4?
Mhm.
According to that, how does the packaging change here?
Yeah.
Then again, if Arjun, you could get on the bike.
Yeah.
So what exactly is the rider triangle for its purpose? Mostly, what we say when we look at rider triangle is one of the points that comes is where the hand and handle position is, and next one is the hip point, and next one is where your legs meet the foot bed. So these are very important because it kind of determines how the person is using the bike, and that's where I think in a lot of sports bike where you have to lean very
It's
forward.
a committed posture.
Yes, and at that time, I think especially the time your back kind of aches when you are using it for prolonged periods.
There is more pressure on your wrist,
Yes.
especially if you have a backpack. It's more weight on your wrist, so it affects the riding. Actually, those motorcycles are designed in such a way that so that you are more connected to the road and you have the more capability to corner those.
Especially on track, I guess.
Correct. So I'll just get off the motorcycle. And I think what we wanted more to talk about is about customization, and then that leading to where is the current motorcycle landscape and where it might be leading.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think at this point of time, we'll be switching locations.
Oh yeah.
So thank you to Baumik for lending us this bike for this shoot.
A few moments later.
Yeah, so we
Ta-da!
are
In the new location.
new location away from the bike. After
Yeah.
having returned the bike, we are here.
Right.
Some huge birds flying around. Let's not be scared. Okay.
Right.
So yes, what's next?
What's next is that there is a technology creep and comfort, creature comfort, convenience related creep that is happening into the world of motorcycling as
Mhm.
well. I mean, it's very prevalent in the world of automobiles and cars as we know it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very much prevalent, but motorcycles as well is benefiting from it. I will say it's all overall benefiting only.
Yeah, I think if you look at across the automotive landscape, it is almost there everywhere.
Yeah.
From all safety to convenience to
Making life easier.
and making life safer,
Yeah.
and also sometimes difficult because we
Yeah.
are not used to this,
True.
right?
True.
So from the point of view of being able to design safer motorcycles
Mhm.
aimed at particular users,
Yeah.
a lot of these tech also needs housings.
Yeah.
They also need specific mechanic parts.
Right.
So as I was saying before, as a bike designer, you need to know the components. You need
Yeah.
to know how they play with each other,
Yeah.
where the swing arm should be,
Mhm.
how the shock should connect to the frame.
Mhm.
Is it a trellis frame? Is it
Yeah.
a tubular frame, or the other kind of frames that different categories of motorcycles use,
Yeah.
and what is suitable to which category is something that you should know.
Mhm.
And especially in terms of technology also, how do we integrate it?
Yeah.
A sensory overload should not
Mhm.
happen,
Mhm.
but it should be so that they get used to these new tech and controls,
Right.
which aid safety but
Yeah.
do not take away their concentration.
Correct. So, continuing to that, when you're buying your first motorcycle, you need to understand, are you a very tech-oriented person or are you very old school? You want everything, you want to feel
Mhm.
the motorcycle, so to speak. Like, do you want everything to be old school but very reliable? Or do you want fancy touchscreens with, very good visual interfaces and all that? Some people prefer the needle
Yeah,
and you know,
analog
analog
experience, of
analog
course.
digital combo, that kind of thing,
Exactly.
which is very reliable. It's time and like you know, time proven,
Time tested throughout the
throughout,
centuries,
yeah,
probably.
throughout the ages. So those are very reliable. So you need to make that consideration. There is like the two extremes. Like if you want the touchscreen plus all the map, then there are like some of the latest scooters have all these things. So you can be in that side, or you can be in the analog side. This is something that you can decide for yourself. Like once you're narrowing down, you can ask yourself, am I very tech oriented? Like as of now, today, if you ask me, it's been 10 years, I'm kind of tired of all the needle and the very LCD looking displays. If I'm yet to buy a motorcycle, I'm just giving my example out here, is that I would prefer a TFT dash with all the nice colorful display and the maybe the phone connectivity as well. Sometimes you might be the person who do not value phone connectivity as such. You want a motorcycle that is very much giving you the feeling and the connect.
Raw feeling of,
Yeah.
of what is
So
there, yeah.
that is something that you can decide for yourself. While Prateek said that maybe there is a fine line that you have to draw. How much do you aid the user? There is a point beyond which you will be just overwhelming the user. Are giving so many features, but the average user is not going to use. Maybe they'll use the first 10 to 15% of the things that is very upfront. There might be many other dozen screens and colors and customizations which you will never end up using. So that is a fine line we draw.
I think
while
this
designing.
is also why there are specific
variants.
Variants, exactly.
Yeah,
From a design standpoint and a user standpoint, I would always say that you choose what you want for you.
ideal for you.
Yes.
Where is that fine balance?
It should not be that you bought something but you regretted getting a better display or a colorful panel.
Yeah,
But also judging whether you actually need it. Are you paying that much attention to
True.
the full screen display or the color display that you are getting?
True.
Or are you good enough with the dials, which is again time and again
Time tested.
Yes, exactly. And this is another part of cognitive ergonomics that
Yeah.
comes into play when we are looking at display and control.
Yeah,
So control is again another part of how and where those controls are exactly placed.
yeah,
Especially in motorcycles, you have relatively a smaller area.
correct.
Because you are most of the times you have to keep
your hands need to
on.
be there. Motorcycle, while you design, there is that finite limitation
Exactly.
of how you can, and the when it comes to a motorcycle, you need to have that balance, otherwise you could fall down.
Exactly.
Whereas in a car, you're sitting comfortably, the balance element is out of the equation. You can still have maybe you can take one hand off your steering wheel and then control a few things. That is something that is not there in motorcycles.
Not
While
sure.
designing, it's very important.
And everything has to be within reach of your thumb or
Of your thumb and
of your
fingers.
fingers.
Yeah.
And that is another area where we have seen, I think, the test drive
Yeah.
we did
Yeah.
the last day, where we tested over a few scooters. We saw different kinds of hand operated finger operated controls.
Yeah.
Some looked very modern,
Yeah.
but we were
But there
kind
was
of-
learning curve.
Yes, exactly.
There was a mismatch between the expectation or something that we are familiar with and what was given presented on the motorcycle. So it while it may have looked very futuristic and wow, it looks very modern and well laid out, in actual usability terms, when you are riding, in this particular example, we are talking about the Chetak, the electric scooter from Chetak, Bajaj, so to speak. So they had laid out the indicators left and right on the left and right side of the motorcycle,
and which looked extremely cool. And those buttons were also very well designed.
Correct.
You look at
Symmetrical.
them. Yes, you look at them and you can see that attention was paid
Correct.
into designing those things as such.
Correct.
But again, since we were relatively new users and we were just trying it out, I think it initially did not make sense to us.
Yeah.
But then we test drove the Ather Rista, which had the very conventional thing, and it just fell to place.
Felt in place. It fell right in place, and it felt natural. It is something that we are familiar with. We don't have to learn anything new. We don't have to get familiar with something new. It was very natural.
I think this is also a question that you should be asking yourself, whether you will be okay with this, because certainly you will be after a few days of use.
Yes.
Or are you good enough with traditional
the traditional
use?
So then I guess we can move on to the ownership experience of a
Exactly,
motorcycle.
exactly, yeah.
What happens after you purchase the motorcycle? So again, this is one more thing you should consider while buying. Are you planning for a quick upgrade, like you want to get into motorcycling, you want to test waters, and then maybe stay in or out? That is one way to go forward with your purchase. So then in that case, you could be buying something very economical and very aggressively priced and low price, something you could try. Or if you're looking for something long term, then you need to have that kind of a purchase mentality.
Yeah,
So-
just to add to this, I think the commuter segment is something which is very widely open
Correct.
and very easy to
Easily
ride,
accessible
easy to access.
in terms of pocket as well as,
As
you
well
know, ergonomics and everything.
Yeah. So when you are designing such a motorcycle, you design it for a large persona.
Yeah.
In terms of large persona, in the sense you want to cover a larger group of people,
Right.
and so it's like the jack of all trades,
Correct.
perhaps.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
that's why you have the shape and everything is also in a way that it is very approachable. It feels light,
Yeah.
and these
Friendly.
are the friendly, exactly. These are the characteristics that probably as a designer
Mhm.
you should be taking forward while you are designing specific ones.
Agree.
But if you are going to create something like an adventure bike or a super bike, then your user is really different.
Yeah.
Then shifting according to that, knowing these preferences, knowing what to use where is the key to create these motorcycles.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, moving on to the ownership experience.
So coming back to that topic, I guess you need to have that mind space to be able to take care of your motorcycle. That's very important. Sometimes people ignore it, the maintenance schedule and all of that. So when you're buying a motorcycle, have a budget for it. Let's say the service interval, and it will come based on like the duration you have kept the motorcycle or the amount of kilometers that you're covering with the motorcycle. So have that freedom, or have that available to you, the time and the money to be able to take your motorcycle for service and then look after it. Because if you take care of the motorcycle, it will serve back to you, it will last long in a very good condition. So this is something that you need to account for when you're making the purchase. So all the motorcycle, at least for the initial 2-3 years, it will be pretty well laid out. They will have roughly the amount you will have to spend. They'll give you, the showroom or the salesperson will provide you with those details. So let's take Triumph Speed 400 and the T4 series for an example. They are launching those bikes with certain benchmark of service interval, because in my opinion their first service comes after 10k kilometers, if I'm not wrong.
That's
That's
quite large,
crazy. Yeah, that means that they have such trust in the machinery that they are selling you. They are telling you that, okay, once you exit the showroom floor, you don't have to come back to us till that time period, 1 year or 10k, if I'm not wrong.
And I think this is India being India. It's one of the hardest markets
Correct.
to capture, because we have a variety of terrain. From
Conditions.
north to south and east to west. A range of temperatures,
Terrain, everything.
dust, and a lot of
Riding environment also.
The pothole situations in certain parts of India and all those. So these are huge considerations from the technical, the design, the rider, all these points of view. So these make it a very, I would say, a formidable barrier itself for people to come out with good motorcycles. And the good thing is we do have a large number right now. People are able to
choose from a lot of
build motorcycles that last and perform
really long.
well in these conditions.
Correct. So I guess that being discussed, now we can slowly move on to what kind of varieties available in the market at this point. So we, in terms of automotive industry, is at a very important junction. Like now we have the electronic vehicles happening, EVs happening. Then there is the internal combustion engine or the ICE vehicles on the traditional and the established side of things. And then there is the middle ground or the hybrid side of things. So simply put, a hybrid is both the combination of the EVs and the ICE. So where is the motorcycle industry currently positioned? It's in India, at least, it's very much the EV and the ICE happening. There is very few hybrid situation happening. Globally, experiments are taking on happening. There
multi fuels.
Yeah.
Even some are experimenting with hydrogen.
Correct.
The Bajaj launching the CNG bike.
Correct. They rigorously tested it, and they made sure that the public need not worry about the CNG nature of the motorcycle. And in terms of EVs, there is always this limitation that the motorcycle cannot go. It can go only as much as its batteries will allow it to. And depending on if you have luggage plus pillion plus very up and down riding condition, the range that is advertised might vary from what you actually get. So that is a very big barrier when it comes to electronic vehicles. So in a very upper level observation, you will find that it's restricted to the scooter industry right now. There are players that are entering, like the ultraviolet F77, which is a motorcycle that roughly compares to a Duke 390. It's a very very attractive proposition overall for somebody who doesn't want a scooter but they want a electric bike at the same time. So yeah, electric bike, I would many people are considering it to be a gadget, so to speak, because there is going to be a screen and there will be riding modes, because everything is electric in nature. There is not much analog things, or so many moving parts are not there. It's essentially two wheels, a battery, and just a motor. It's as simple as that. In terms of simplicity, yes, it's the thing to go.
The number of moving parts, this is another big debate that's always going on. In an IC engine is huge, whereas in a electric vehicle, it's fairly less.
It's fairly less easy to maintain and all that. There are pros and there are cons. And at the time being, like it's split this way. Like EVs will give you like 100 kilometer, 120 kilometers of range, and you will have to probably charge for like 7 hours overnight, charging more likely, and you will have to plug it in and all that. So on the ICE side, you don't have to worry about that, because there is like tons of petrol pumps, and almost all of the entry level beginner oriented bikes will give you great mileage. So that won't be a very big issue in terms of convenience as well as money.
If you have relatively, let's say 20 plus kilometers running in the city every day, then the EV becomes a very good solution.
Very good.
Especially if it's a scooter, which are larger in number. There are also other bikes like the one that Matter, Torque Motors, Ultraviolet, all are providing. But it all depends on what you want to do. And that's where I feel right now is a good time to get an EV scooter if you have charging infrastructure at home or nearby,
or even your workplace.
Yes, or your workplace, and you have a commute which covers from probably 10 to 50 kilometers one way. So that will give you a good savings and overall good customer satisfaction.
It goes without saying, if you are a person with a range anxiety, better stick to ICE, because the numbers and the percentages will vary a lot based on your driving situation and based on your luggage situation. So if you are that kind of a person, just stick to ICE. That's the more effortless and decision that requires less effort. And now that we have discussed about electric vehicles and what is the technology and the landscape currently like, I guess ICE will stay for a longer time.
I guess at least for India, it should stay for at least the next 5 to 10 years.
That brings us to the final advice and the conclusion of this discussion. I would say when it comes to actually making that final call, you will always have closest 5 or 4 to 5 people who will be really urging you to manifesting their choices to you. But in the end, it's your choice. But at the end of the day, it's your decision that you need to make. You just go for a test ride, and then whatever motorcycle connects to you the most, just make that call. Just make that decision. Whatever you felt really connected to, just purchase it. EV or ICE, it doesn't matter. Just go ahead and make that choice.
So I think you have heard from the rider perspective, as well as from if you have to look at it from a designer perspective, what are the points that as a motorcycle enthusiast and a designer you should be looking into. And these were few of the thoughts that we had to say today. Hope you enjoyed this. If there is anything else, please do ask us in the comments box. If you like this video, don't forget to like it and do subscribe for more content. Thank you.
Thank you.